Hello everyone, today I'm doing another video on Captain Underpants and the big bad battle of the big bad battle of the bionic booger boy part 2, the revenge of the ridiculous robo boogers. So today I'm going to be reading chapter 17 through chapter 20, I guess. So before we get started, make sure you smash the subscribe button, smash the like button, smash the notification bells so you don't miss out on any new videos that I post. I post like twice a week, I guess, and I don't want you to miss the videos, so let's just get right into it. And this is getting old. I better make a new one. Chapter 17, The Big Switcheroni. Mr. Melvin ordered George and Harold to stick their heads out the window and call for Captain Underpants. Soon the waistband warrior appeared. Mr. Melvin welcomed the caped hero inside and asked him to pose for a photo. "Why, I'd be delighted," said Captain Underpants. "Great," said Mr. Melvin. "Put these clothes on and stand over here." At first, Captain Underpants was reluctant to put on clothes, but he finally agreed. Mr. Melvin, who had worked all afternoon reconfiguring the Combinatron 2000, pressed the start button, then ran and stood beside Captain Underpants. Suddenly, two glowing lasers began encoding the DNA of the two subjects it was about to combine. Then a burst of brilliant red light shot out of the Combinatron 2000 and formed a ball of energy between Captain Underpants and Mr. Melvin. They both slid together into the red light and formed a giant blob of fleshy goo. The newly reconfigured Combinatron 2000 then switched polarities and began the process of separating the two human elements. The red ball of light slowly changed to a lovely shade of green. Suddenly there was a blinding flash of light, a quick puff of smoke, and it was all over. Everybody's brains were back where they belong. "Wow, that sure is a weird camera," said Captain Underpants, who now looked exactly like Captain Underpants. "Can I take these clothes off now? They're bad for my image." "Go right ahead," said Mr. Sneedly, who said Melvin Sneedly, who now looked exactly like Melvin Sneedly. Finally, it looked as if everything was back to normal. But as we all know, looks can be deceiving. Chapter 18, the return of the ridiculous robo boogers. Just then, the Poopsie space shuttle landed at Piqua International Airport. It wasn't the smoothest of landings due to the fact that three robotic boogers had just eaten most of the shuttle's tail fin and nearly of all of its rocket thrusters. Merrill Thomsky and his crew had barely escaped with their lives. Inside the school library, Captain Underpants heard the astronauts' panicked cries coming from the airport. "This looks like a job for me," he shouted, and with a mighty tra-la-la, he leaped out the window and fell 3 stories to the ground. Crash! George and Harold screamed and ran downstairs. "Captain Underpants," said George, "are you okay?" "Speak to us," cried Harold. Captain Underpants slowly lifted his head in confusion. "Mommy," he said weakly, "my train went swimming in the piano." Meanwhile, over at the Piqua International Space Airport, Carl, Trixie, and Frankenbooger had just finished eating the space shuttle and were now starting to munch on the control tower. The 3 globby gluttons grew bigger and bigger with every enormous bite. "Come on, Captain Underpants," cried George. "You've got to save those people." "But I forgot how to fly," Captain Underpants said sheepishly. "You didn't forget," laughed Melvin, who was just now floating above their heads. "You've just lost your superpowers. But don't worry, they've been safely transferred into my body. Now I'm the world's greatest superhero." "Melvin," cried George, "those robo-boogers came back to Earth. They're attacking people at the airport. You've got to help those people." "I'm not doing a thing until you guys change that comic book," Melvin said. "And you better make me look cool this time." "But there's no time," cried Harold. "Those people need your help now." "Well, you better start drawing then, art boy," said Melvin. Chapter 19, Never Underestimate the Power of Underwear. George and Harold begged Melvin to use his superpowers to save the day, but Melvin continued to refuse. Finally, Captain Underpants stepped in. "You may have taken away my superpowers," the waistband warrior said, "but I still have the power of underwear on my side, and no one can take that away from me." Captain Underpants turned and ran toward the airport. "Melvin," cried George frantically, "if you don't do something, those boogers are gonna kill Mr. Krupp." "That's not my fault," said Melvin. "You're the ones who wrote that stupid comic book about me. Now change it or else." George and Harold looked at each other. Their choice was simple: either fight with Captain Underpants and probably die, or give in to the dark side and live. The two boys turned and ran to the airport. Chapter 20. Booger Brunch. George and Harold quickly caught up with Captain Underpants. Soon they were all at the airport witnessing the carnage of the ridiculous robo-boogers. Captain Underpants shouted out a triumphant tra-la-la from below. Suddenly, the three robo-boogers turned toward the familiar-sounding voice. Quickly, their laser-guided eyeballs zoomed in on the three of the heroes who had made their lives so miserable back in Chapter 1. Immediately, the robo-boogers leaped at George, Harold, and Captain Underpants, and the chase was on again. Chapter 21. Cornered. The robo-boogers continued chasing George, Harold, and Captain Underpants until at last the three frightened friends were cornered at a local shopping center. Everything except fabric softener, the store for all your non-fabric softener needs. But in 24 hours, sale. In a desperate attempt to save themselves, the three brave heroes began taking items from outside the sale bins and throwing them at the snarling beasts. George grabbed a pair of low-fat tennis ball shoes and tossed them at Trixie. Trixie gobbled them up. Harold found a delicious tube of wild cherry flavored hemorrhoid ointment and flung it at Frankenbooger. Frankenbooger swallowed it whole. Captain Underpants picked up a genetically modified organic orange-flavored orange and chuckled it at Carl. Carl chewed it up with a smug grin. Suddenly, Carl's laser eyes grew incredibly large. The haunty smile on his face turned into a panicked gasp as the wet, gushy snot that covered his body began to dry up and crumble. Huge, crispy bullets shot off his smoldering, robotic endoskeleton like green popcorn. "What's going on?" cried Harold. "It's the oranges," said George. It's gonna be the vitamin C in these oranges. It's combating the cold and flu that caused these boogers to turn evil. Carl thrashed around brutally as more of his distinct body cracked off and fell to the ground. Finally, the lights in his panic-stricken laser eyes slowly went out. He stumbled over and crashed horribly into the parking lot. Carl was dead. Chapter 22. Vitamin C later. George, Harold, and Captain Underpants quickly began chucking oranges at Trixie and Frankenbooger, but the two remaining robo-boogers had just gotten wise to the power of vitamin C. They ducked, jumped, dodged, and darted, doing whatever they could to avoid being hit with the deadly oranges. "Hey, I've got an idea," said Captain Underpants. He grabbed 2 crates of the oranges and ran off while George and Harold continued flinging fruit ferociously. "Where does he think he's going?" said George. "I don't know," said Harold, "but his idea better work. We're running out of oranges." Soon George and Harold were down to their last 2 oranges. They threw them as hard as they could, but at last their potent projectiles missed their terrifying targets. Trixie and Frankenbooger grabbed George and Harold and dangled them over their gigantic mouths. "Well," said George, "looks like this is the end." "Yep," said Harold. "It was nice knowing you, pal." Suddenly, the Roboboogers heard a familiar tra-la-la coming from somewhere over the next page. The repulsive Roboboogers dropped George and Harold and stomped over to page 130. There they found Captain Underpants standing at the top of the large novelty toilet on the roof of the John's house of toilets. He was shouting tra-la-la and doing a very annoying dance which made the Roboboogers very, very, very angry. Chapter 23. The Underpants Dance in Flipperama. TM. You've tried the twist, mastered the Macarena, and figured out the funky chicken. Now it's time to learn the most annoying dance ever, the Underpants dance. It's sure to irritate parents, teachers, evil villains, and kids of all ages. Just follow the easy steps in this chapter and learn the Underpants dance today. Introducing Flipperama, Pilky brand. Here's how it works. And we will stop on this Underpants dance for now. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you smash the subscribe button, smash the like button, smash the notification bell so you won't miss out on any new things. And I'll see you later. And I'll also make a new bookmark. Bye.